Good morning, traders. My weekend video. Some things I'm looking at here. I'm looking at tech. We have Netflix reporting this week, and it was on one heck of a tear last year, and or the all this entire Trump run, and there has been obvious profit taking coming out of the technology sector. Um, Big money seems to be pulling some of the money out, rotating into the more defensive area in the markets. And so basically, we really want to keep an eye on this, seeing as Netflix is reporting tonight. So, just give some context of where we're at here in the markets. Basically, we came down yesterday. They were Friday. They were fighting tooth and nails to break my level. And right into the close, they managed to break that level. So they put maximum pressure on the bears, for protection going into the extended long weekend. So a lot of bears this morning we're seeing them having to do a short covering rally going into today's session, largely due to the Hong Kong major outperformance over the weekend. Now that Biden's coming in, the Hong Kong almost back to the pre-tariff highs that Trump had put in place. I guess the Chinese industry's thinking there's going to be far less restrictive uh, policy against Chinese companies, and under a Biden administration, and that is makes sense, makes all the sense in the world, in my opinion. So I still say that you're going to see the Chinese internet stocks outperforming this year by a long ways, and so that is my number one growth scenario for the 2021 year is China internet really shining this year. So, but getting back to the Nasdaq, basically, this is a very well. This is what I consider the primary longer term trend. Okay, and I'll show you that here in a minute. And this is the accelerated trend in that trend. Okay, the orange here, and we came right down here. They put us on the verge of breaking that acceleration there Friday. Boom, coming right back up here and into these higher levels. My theory going forward this week that we're going to break this accelerated line this week. Uh, and I don't know if we're going to come down that much. I just think we're going to break out of this acceleration as some of this earnings news comes out. And remember, the past two quarters, the uh, as we're entering earnings season here, there have not been a whole lot of surprises in the uh, expected moves. And if you're lucky to catch the right stock, yeah, you did real well. But you're looking like 1 out of 10 stocks that you're really getting paid good for the risk you're taking, and on these earnings trades with your options. If you're just trying to trade options for big gains on the big earnings moves, for the most part, most of these earnings trades are not working out the past two quarters. That is a sign of a topping uh, signal. But now here we have another leg of stimulus coming out. You have to, when you have uh, monetary manipulation of the markets, you can't really um, look back at what's happened in the past. You have to look forward to what's going to happen in the future. But still, it does look to me like tech is exhausted. And if you go out here, and I'll give you a little bit closer idea of what I'm talking about, like the 10, I don't know, 20-year, yeah, weekly. This was the accelerated uptrend we were in tech. Then we have the Trump explosive rally because of the whole COVID thing. And look at, we are trading way up here. That's that longer term trend that I was showing you. We're in this very upper end of that range. So these lines here, that's that upper end of that range that we're trading in. And so definitely something to look at here, or to realize what's happening here. And if you go out, and what I want to point out here, this accelerated area up here we go. We got rejected out of this area, rejected out of this area, rejected out of this area. We're up in this area again. This is the nosebleed area, in my opinion, on tech. And we've been sitting here for weeks now, you know, little, yeah. So basically, we've been accumulating since the 1st of December. This whole area up here, very dangerous area for tech, in my opinion. So definitely something to think about going forward here in your trading. That the rotation that seems to be starting here in tech is likely to accelerate. So definitely gets it's very concerning here what's happening here in the technology space. Okay, another one. Primary uptrend is down here on our ESs. And as you can see here, we have tried to break out into a new trading zone and basically try to come back into the primary trend. And just today, we're opening up, breaking above our primary uptrend in the SPY. And this is another one. Looks really expensive here, in my opinion. If you go out on your daily, okay, and so basically, this is our primary trend. We're trying to break out, okay. So definitely something to keep on watch going forward here. So basically, we're right up here near the highs of this primary long-term trend. So we do have room to go a little bit higher. Just some things that I'm looking at here going forward. And if you go out on a 20-year, you'll see that trend. See, this is a very accelerated trend. So this is a just like the rest of the markets, very toppy situation. See, we went from a slope, a lower slope, and now we're into an extremely parabolic slope, even on the ESs here, despite we do have more stimulus hitting the markets and stuff. So it's something definitely to be aware of. Going forward here, we're still very expensive in these markets. And to uh, pops generally should be sold into as a general rule of thumb. But the markets will keep going up with as long as the government keeps writing up check. So that's definitely something to keep on watch here. I'm not really as nervous on this one as I am the Nasdaq, as rotation does seem to be coming out, going into different sectors. And our Russell seems to be the recipient of this year's explosive move so far. So definitely keep this one on watch. Very bullish rotation into the Russell. So we'll see if that can continue. This was our primary uptrend. So we have a breakout of that primary uptrend. If the markets were to decide to come in, of course, coming back inside of our primary uptrend would be wonderful. But we'll see what happens. We do have Biden buy the rumor, sell the news scenario with financials. We had a little bit of that coming out Friday. We got more financials data hitting the tape today. So definitely something to keep on watch here. And if you go out on your 20-year weekly, you can see this is the primary trend for the Russell. And here we are. It just looks parabolic, absolute parabolic, with all this government stimulus hitting the tape. So everybody thinks the markets can just continue to go straight up, and we're coming out of a parabolic phase in the markets already before this next leg of stimulus is hitting the tape. So some things to think about here. So far this morning, some things I'm looking at. Alibaba, we are inside of a gap on the price action. And so very, very strong performance in the overnight session in Chinese internet stocks. You got Baidu's up like more than $12. You got JD up. Um, you know, so I had put a theory out there because they're delisting so many Chinese names. The remaining names will probably catch a lot more higher price to earnings multiple as funds who are looking for exposure in China have fewer options to invest in. So, like your Alibabas, your Tencent, your JD, your Baidu, these are the top performers in the Chinese equities. I think that you're going to see a prolonged higher multiple exposure for those names as U.S. investors want to have exposure to Chinese stocks but have fewer options to invest in. Unless Biden comes out and cancels a lot of these delistings, which I don't think is going to happen. Okay. And then we got GameStop, very active this morning, up really big. Some other things we do have right around the corner, Boeing, up really nice today, up over $5 here. Boeing this morning on lighter volume, but definitely seen Boeing's earnings, like I said, about a week away here on Boeing earnings coming out here. And the social stocks are leading on the tech side this morning, surprisingly. And so basically, Facebook came right down to support last week and has had a rocket move off of there so far. So obviously, the markets do not seem to think that Uncle Sam's coming after social media anytime soon. I thought for sure with the riots and everything that one of the first things the Dems would be doing is proposing uh, more legislation to regulate social media. But that doesn't seem to be on the agenda to date. We'll see what happens going forward here. Tesla just does not want to give it up. We do have an announcement that they are launching the Model Y in China, delivering the first vehicles. So that is keeping a nice little bid under Tesla this morning. And like I said, we do have some major bank earnings hitting the tape here in just about an hour or less. We're going to start seeing like Goldman Sachs and some of the other banks reporting earnings this morning. Okay, and I'm still Microsoft. We've seen early rotation out of this stock, so this one here I definitely keep an eye on. I'm using this as one of the proxies, a leading indicator for the Nasdaq, and see if we continue to see liquidation out of this stock. Some things that I'm just really looking at here going forward. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of rundown. Volumes are still pretty darn light here. I don't want to really go under 10,000 contracts here at 5:45 in the morning, but that's some of the early morning action I'm seeing. So some of the top stocks that I'm looking for going into 2021, that is GE. And it's like, why would I ever want to be looking at GE? And they invested heavily under Obama in alternative energy production, and then when coming under Trump, that investment they just didn't come to fruition. By Trump getting into the office, it really impacted their business model. And now that we got Biden coming back in, I think we're going to see a resurgence in this stock, and we will probably see by year's end in the 30s. I'm thinking here on GE. So definitely something to think about going forward here. That I think we prop on the cusp of quite possibly a major resurgence in General Electric with the whole alternative energy and government spending scenario. And then, like the guys in the trading room, they're trading Ford and General Motors. Ford was their favorite. Looks like we are beginning to break a long term downtrend in Ford with the whole inflation theme hitting the market and everything. And as investors are moving from growth to more value oriented stocks, um, I could very easily see here and not and very easily see $13 a share here in just under a month here for Ford. We'll see what happens, but definitely this thing has gotten walloped pretty hard here under the Trump, and people were just throwing money at the tech stocks under Trump, and now I think we're going to see a resurgence of value going forward here as industrials start outperforming the technology area going forward into at least the first half of this year. Another one, we have a 230 price target by some analysts here on Caterpillar, and Caterpillar just seems to be flying here. So this is definitely one that I want to have on my watch list going forward here as a potential explosive move higher here for Caterpillar. So Ford, and you had GM. That's another industrial. I'm really keeping a close eye on these industrials, thinking a lot of these have just lingered under the Trump administration, and now we're going to start seeing investors wanting to park their money in dividend driven safer stocks going forward here in the markets. So now to start the year here, Tesla, buy the rumor, sell the news. Now the Model Ys are actually hitting the market. You have to be very concerned. Look at this explosive move we've had here in Tesla. You have to start thinking some money's going to start coming out of this stuff. Etsy, look at the explosive move in these Chinese internet names. At some point you would have to start really being concerned that profits are going to start coming out of these stocks. Wayfair, another one, very explosive move. Chewy. Those are three of some of the biggest internet names that have exploded this year. And these are a lot of those names you have to think that if the market's looking so toppy here, you have to start thinking that these names might see some reprieve going forward here in profit taking. Some ones that are industrials but still have the tech theme, that would be your Dell. Huge demand for PCs this Christmas season, holiday season. I think it's going to be a major surprise. They just relisted not long ago. Back in 2019, they came public again because they delisted for a while, went private to fix some problems. Now they reissued. This thing here could really surprise, in my opinion. Anything to do with PCs and laptops, PCs and laptops, I think are going to do very well this Christmas holiday. The markets are really not giving them a high priced earnings multiple either. This is another one, HP. I think it's going to have a very good earnings season. We're probably going to see $35, $40 on this stock. And this is actually an industrial slash technology play. So definitely something to think about going forward here. The industrials, I do think, are going to be very hot the first part of this year. So just keep that in mind going forward. So you got your Intel, which got a new CEO. That's a very dangerous stock. You would, I think they're really underperforming, so you have to be careful on that. But IBM's probably going to really surprise to the upside. Uh, this is an industrial slash. This is a value play in tech. Something to think about going forward. If you think industrials are going to do well, this is also playing in on the whole laptop PC theme as well. They're really big in cloud now, so that's something you have to think about as far as IBM going forward here. See here, what other ones? J&J, I saw this morning breaking out all-time new highs. They had the whole vaccine thing, imminent news that they're going to start trying to get approval on the whole their form of the vaccine, which a lot of people are waiting for, myself included. It's a more it is believed to have less side effects using the J&J vaccine going forward. But we are breaking out to all-time highs to start the morning here on J&J. Been in a very long-term consolidation pattern, and it's already broken out already. But on the weekly, we've had already pushed out, but we're even pushing out further today. On so if you look at weekly here, we broke out last week. We actually got the official breakout last week, and so we're up 162. So we're at all-time highs. So the all-time high is 161.95. We got a bid ask above all-time highs this morning for J&J going forward here. So some things I'm looking at here. We do have Altria MO reporting later this week, I believe. So that's one to definitely keep on watch here. You see, it's been a really big sell-off on Altria. Their earnings have been a little bit lackluster here. But this is one of those stocks. Ordinarily, I would say would be in a downtrend, but because so many people are sitting at home and have nothing to do, the alcohol and smoking stocks uh, are surviving, even despite an increasingly difficult regulatory environment. So that's another one. I'm thinking a value play potentially. Uh, that towards the end of the week, we probably might start seeing rotation back into some of these legacy value trades. And I'm not a big fan of trading or cigarette stocks, but that's something that is coming up down the pipe here. Uh, so basically, some of the things I'm looking at here. Like the video if you like it. Please leave comments below and stuff. Going forward this week here, going to be really tough to discern uh, uh, the how the market's going to digest things. We just know that all that stimulus is coming in. It's going to be hard for the shorts to ever catch any footing, in my opinion, with so much stimulus talk hitting the tape going forward here. Okay, so good luck, and I will see you next week.